So anybody who is just logging on, welcome to today's class. This is the website 201 class. So again, we will be going over the custom pages that you guys have access to add to your command website. Today specifically, we are going to be going over how to add a testimonial capture page, then how to also host your testimonials on your website. We're also going to be adding a mortgage calculator, both of the Homekeeper widgets, one being the blog and the other being the vendor page, and then also a local school widget. The local school widget will only work for agents in the United States as of right now. So if you are practicing real estate outside of the United States, unfortunately, that one specific page will not pull information for you. And then last but not least, we are going to go over how to make sure your featured listings are populating, as well as a completely custom page posting your previously sold or recently sold transactions. So we're going to go over all of that today. Ton of information. Like I said previously, there is a small chance we will go over that hour. However, today's class is recorded, so all of the information that we go over will be on our YouTube channel later today. And then if you guys do have specific questions, whether you're watching the recording later on, or if you guys are in the class now, feel free to always shoot us an email, support@scottleroymarketing.com. And if you just put attention website 201, we'll make sure that we address that class and help you take care of whatever the issue that you guys are seeing. But primarily all of the information that we are going to be doing today is going to be done in the command platform. So I'm going to go ahead and log into command to get started. Once we are logged into command, the first thing I always like to touch upon is the marketing profile. So a lot of you are probably familiar with the marketing profile as it's kind of like the ground zero of command, but we just want to make sure that all of your accurate information, any updated information has been added there. So we're just going to run through that really quick. In order to access the marketing profile, we're going to go ahead and click on our names in the top right-hand corner. And then we're going to click on settings. Once this section loads, you're going to see all of your settings on the left-hand side right here. We're going to go ahead and click on Connect Settings, and you're going to see Marketing Profile is the only option, and it's nestled right underneath that. And we're just going to go ahead and click on that. Once this page loads, chances are this looks very familiar to you. You may have come in here and already gone through all of the nitty-gritty, making sure it's accurate, making sure you're good to go. Again, we're just going to kind of comb through, make sure everything's there. The first thing you guys are going to see is your headshot. You'll notice that the headshot does populate within a circle. So in order for it to not be distorted, it does need to be cropped to be a perfect square. And this is only for the headshot. If you do not have a headshot that is a perfect square, you'll notice that it does show up a little bit wonky. It usually tries to squish it to fit into that circle. That being said, it will show up like that on all of your marketing. So you do want to make sure that this is corrected. And as always, if you guys need help with that, we can always take a look for you. You can just shoot that over to us in an email. Underneath that, we have our team logo. Team logo is not required. However, it is recommended because on all of your smart plans that you send out, any email campaigns, it is going to pull from this section as your team logo. If this is left blank, it's going to say image not available. So if you guys do not have a team logo, you can always add the realtor logo, which we have one on file. Again, if you guys need it, just let us know. And if you guys are in the live class, what I'll do is I'll actually add that logo to the end of the notes that I previously shared. So if you guys want it, you can just copy and paste it later on. You'll notice that Lori's logo is not a perfect square. The system is smart enough to update the logos to populate correctly on all marketing. So if you do have a team logo and it happens to be a rectangle or maybe it's just not a perfect square, this is not how it's going to show up on all of your platforms. Your headshot is how it's going to show up on all of your platforms. So that's something to keep in mind. Scrolling down a little bit, we have My Details. Pretty straightforward. This is going to be your information. Anything that will vary, you may want to touch base with your broker in charge. For example, if you go by a nickname instead of your legal name, just make sure that it's compliant within your board before updating that. However, this would be first name and last name. You have your license number, Team name. If you're not on a team, we usually recommend putting something there, something along the lines of your name, maybe with Keller Williams, or your name and then realtor. Really, the opportunity is endless. It's just allowing you one extra spot to customize your marketing. So that's why we recommend putting something there. Underneath that, we have professional job title and designations. You do want to make sure that these are the compliant verbiage that your office does require. So if you guys are with a board that requires you to have maybe licensed real estate professional versus realtor, whatever it may be, just make sure that's what you're adding there. And then designations, any designations you guys have obtained over the years, feel free to add those in as well. Then we have our bio. You'll notice that Lori's bio is added here with all of the line breaks that she wants to populate. By having it set up as that, this means that anywhere this bio shows up, it will have those line breaks for her. So making sure that it is formatted the way that you want it to populate is important. Underneath that, we have contact information. Again, pretty straightforward, starting with our mobile number and office number. Lori has opted to replicate her mobile number as her office number as well. Again, this is something you will want to confirm with your board, or essentially your broker in charge within your office, just to make sure that they don't require the office number on your marketing. If they do not, you can replicate your mobile number if you'd like, or if you have a physical office or a landline of some sort, you can always add that in as well. Then we have email address. For the email address, this is going to be whatever email you guys want on your marketing. It does not necessarily have to be the KW email. If you guys are using a personal Gmail email or just a business Gmail email, if you're a part of a team and you guys have a vanity email, whatever it may be, just use the email address that you're looking to correspond with your clients through. Then we have our website. You'll notice here that Lori is using her command website as it ends in the .kw.com. All of the command websites will end in .kw.com. They also will not work with www. So if you currently have the .kw.com at the end of your website and you have the beginning with www. You want to make sure that you have that, you remove that. It's not going to work when somebody goes to click on that URL. One last thing for the actual website URL, you do want to make sure that you have the HTTPS semicolon / in the beginning. What that's going to do is anytime someone clicks on your URL, when they come across your agent profile, your mobile app, or maybe your profile on the office website, it's going to allow them to click directly on your website instead of having to copy and paste it into another tab. So it just makes it a little bit easier for your clients to access your site. Underneath that, we have the brokerage information, starting with the brokerage logo. Chances are we have added that in for you if we set you up as an agent. If there's nothing populating there, just shoot us an email. We can see if we have your DBA logo on file. As of right now, we have every office's logo who has one. There are some offices that do not use a DBA logo, which is completely fine. They just use the regular Keller Williams logo, which we can also provide for you. Then you have your brokerage name, you have your office name, phone number, you have your physical street address, and then your city, state, zip. Please make sure that the address is your office address. We have had some agents in the past accidentally put their home address. This is going to show up on everything, all of your marketing. So make sure this is the office address. If you are associated with a business center, make sure that your business center address is populating there. Essentially, whichever address you are affiliated with, that's what you want here. And if you're with more than one market center, in the notes that I did previously share, there is a tip video towards the bottom that goes over how to brand this specific section to have multiple market centers. Scrolling down a little bit more, we get into compliance. So compliance is going to vary from place to place depending on what board you're with, what state you're practicing real estate in. It is going to be a little bit all over the place. So in regards to compliance, if you guys are in a location that requires specific text to be on all of your platforms, This is where you can paste that in. If you do not have specific text that needs to be added, but maybe you as an agent have notes that you want to add with everything going on with COVID, or maybe your showing situation has changed, whatever it may be, you can always add that in here because the compliance footer is going to populate on everything for you, which is kind of nice. So any smart plans you send out, it's going to show up on your website, your mobile app, your email campaigns. It's really going to plaster itself everywhere. So it's a great way to make sure that it's on everything for you. Underneath that, we have the legal footer links. This is going to primarily apply to Texas, where they have the information about brokerage services and consumer protection notice that needs to be added to everything. If you're not licensed in the state of Texas and you're practicing real estate in any other state, chances are this is not mandatory. However, again, it's a great location to add information that you need in the footer of everything. For example, again, everything that's going on, we've seen some agents add some protocol for COVID with showings, just so it's somewhere on their website. If you guys are in a situation to add that in, if you click on that, it will allow you to give that link a title, and then you populate the URL right here. This is going to allow you to add a PDF, or if there's just a URL that maybe your office previously shared that you want added to your footer, whatever it may be, that's how you can add it. You can also use this location to add your office website if your office is requiring you to add your office website to your marketing. This is also another way to do that. Down a little bit more, we have the legal footer images. I have not seen this required by any other state except for the state of Maine. They require the IDX logo, and then also the fair housing, or the equal opportunity housing icon. If you guys are licensed in any other state, you guys can use this to add your designation logos as well, which is actually a great idea. If you guys have taken bold, or if you guys have just obtained any additional designations, you can always add those in as well. Keep in mind, these are very tiny. They're going to show up 128 by 48 pixels. It's basically a thumbnail that's going to show up again on your footer and on every footer for every piece of marketing that comes through command, which is just fantastic. Underneath that, we have our social, starting with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and then we have YouTube and LinkedIn. One thing I will recommend for the social media URLs, you're going to want to make sure that these are business profiles. So if you haven't had a chance yet to create a business Facebook, a business Twitter, or a business Instagram, don't panic, but I would not recommend adding your personal one. Again, these are going to be branded. They're going to be populating on absolutely every piece of branding that you have. So making sure that they are real estate related, or at least geared towards real estate, is going to be important. Another thing for your social media URLs, you do need the entire URL, not just the handle. So if you guys only have the tail end of that URL, you will want to make sure that you update it with the full link. If you guys are questioning where that may be or how to set that up, in regards to setting up the Facebook, we do have a tip video, which I can also add to the notes for you guys. And then in regards to Twitter and Instagram, we unfortunately don't set those up as of right now, and we do not have classes on it, but for Facebook, we do. And then in regards to obtaining the actual URL, maybe you set one up and you're just not sure where to get that URL. You'll notice right when you go to the profile, you'll just want to copy this link. So the exact link that populates right up here, and then you'll come back in here and paste it in. For YouTube and LinkedIn, YouTube has been a big hit, especially again with everything going on. A lot of agents have been putting their walkthroughs, open houses, and all of that right on YouTube. It's a great way to get those out there. So if you have created a YouTube channel, that's where you can paste that in. And then really any profile that you've created on LinkedIn is going to be business related, so you're safe with any of those URLs. Last but not least, we have our Facebook pixel and ads and Google Analytics. Both of these are great ideas to set up. Your Facebook pixel and ads is going to help you track the traffic for your paid ads that you run through command. So that's something that you guys can set up directly through your Facebook business page. You do need to have a Facebook business page already set up, and there is a tip video in the notes. That way you guys can set that up. Same thing with Google Analytics. Google Analytics is going to allow you guys to track the traffic of your command website. So if you guys haven't set that up, no worries. You can always go in some point this weekend or next week and set those up. I've attached tip videos again to the notes that I shared with the chat. It's towards the bottom. And if you guys are watching the recording, right underneath this recording, there's going to be a shareable Google Doc with all of the notes from today's class, including the tip videos that I've mentioned. So if you guys made any changes, we're just going to go ahead and click on Save at the bottom. If you did make changes, chances are you got a pop-up just saying that everything's been updated. I did not make changes, so that did not pop up for me. Last but not least, before jumping into consumer, you do want to make sure that use my information to brand my agent site is toggled to green. If you're not seeing that as a green bubble, it means that all of the information that you just put together on this platform is not actually being shared. So you do want to make sure that you click that to make sure that it's populating as green. Once you guys have done that, we're going to jump into consumer. So on the consumer section, if you guys ever question which button is which, you can always hover over them and you're going to see the last one is consumer. You can also click on the white KW and the red square, and it will give you this little pop out just so you can see exactly which page is which. And we're going to go ahead and click on consumer. So for the website 201 class, one thing you do want to make sure is that your actual website has already been set up. Again, we're going to be building on or building off of your existing command website. So if you guys are not seeing this as set up yet, you're not seeing a URL, you're not seeing you have the 3 standard pages, chances are your command website has not yet been set up. You're more than welcome to still go through this class and watch this video. However, a lot of what we're doing will not be accessible to you if your website is not already live. So I just want to make sure that that is clear. In regards to today's class, again, we're going to be adding all of those pages. In order to avoid jumping around, what I generally do for the 201 class is create all of the pages first, and then we'll go to the back end and make them all live at the same time. So again, we're going to go through and actually create the content first and get all of those pages set up, and then we'll go back and make them all live at the same time. It's just less jumping around for you guys, so it should make it a little bit easier to follow. So to start and get the ball rolling, the first thing we're going to be doing is adding the testimonial capture page. This is going to allow your clients to add testimonials to your page. They're going to be able to leave them for you right on your website. If you guys have already created this page, feel free to skip over it. You don't have to create a duplicate. But in order to get that started, we're just going to click on create a new page in the top right-hand corner. And this is going to be the standard practice for every single page. We'll always be clicking on consumer and create a new page. And once you guys get this pop-up, we're going to go ahead and select the first option. Again, every time it's going to be on my agent site and then create page. Just make sure that you guys are on my agent site and then create page, because the actual format is going to vary drastically. So you do want to make sure you're selecting that first option. The first thing I always like to do when I'm creating a new page is to give it a title. This is going to come in handy when we go to actually make these pages live. We're going to know exactly what page it is, what its name is. That way we can name it accordingly when adding it to our live website. So the first thing I'm going to do is give this a title. I'm just going to call this Leave a Review. And you guys can call it testimonial capture, leave a testimonial, leave a review, whatever you guys want. The verbiage, you guys can change that as you see fit. Nothing is set in stone. Once I have that title, we're going to go ahead and just take a look at the widgets that are populating on the right-hand side. So for the first couple of pages, we're going to be sticking with these 8 widgets that are available to you guys. The first one being the team, which really, if you're not associated with the team with Keller Williams, this will not really be anything that you'll be using. Agent profile is just a template or essentially a format. It's what the page that you guys use, like your bio, the agent about me page, it's the same platform that that is built on. We have our contact form, testimonial carousel, and list. Carousel is just going to be rotating testimonials, which is going to be up to 4. And then the testimonial list is going to allow you to promote up to 10. Then we have the company profile, which we'll be using in a little bit. And then we have our capture form, which we're going to be using right now. And then download my app is essentially a clickable page that's going to allow people to access the mobile app. That being said, we'll be using that for another page as well. In order for you to create a custom page and essentially start from scratch like this, you'll notice this is just a blank slate for us to kind of just start digging into. In order for us to create a page at all, you need to use one of these 8 widgets. If one of these 8 widgets is not applied to the page, you'll notice it's not going to let you save changes. When you hover over Save Changes to publish this page, click the Configure Widgets button and fill out all required fields. So just as a heads up, if you guys do decide to kind of dive in later and create a bunch of custom pages, just make sure that you are adding a widget in order for that to be saved. So for the first page, we are going to use this testimonial capture form. In order to use any of these widgets, all you're going to do is drag it over to your blank slate and then release your mouse, and it's going to drop it on there for you. It should have that gray overlay. We haven't configured it yet, so don't panic. But once you guys have dragged and dropped that over, all we're going to do is click on Configure Widgets in the bottom right-hand corner. And once you guys click on that, it's going to pull up the only widget that's on the page. So we're just going to click on that, Testimonial Capture. And it's going to allow us to tweak this and kind of customize it, make it a little bit more about you personally. So once you guys have done that, you'll notice all of the edits we're going to be making primarily to website pages are going to be done in this little area on the right-hand side. And if you guys were attending the class from last Wednesday where we set up the website, really anytime you guys are making edits to the website platform, I would say 95% of the edits are going to be made in this little section on the right-hand side. Rarely will you have to actually go into this section. The first section that you guys are going to see on the configure is going to be your team name. Again, if you guys aren't associated with the team, you'll just want to put your name here because it's just, again, another way to customize this page for you guys. So I'm going to put Lori's name here. For our headline, I'm just going to put leave a review. If you guys have different verbiage you want to use, that's completely fine. If you guys want to put like testimonial or leave a testimonial or what do you think or how was your experience, whatever it may be. But keep in mind, this is where your clients are going to be able to leave their actual review. Underneath that, we have the description. You'll notice that populates right underneath our headline. I'm going to leave that as is. If you guys do want to tweak that, you can, but I'm going to leave that as is. Review headline, I'm going to leave that as is as well. It's just saying, how would you rate your experience? It's what populates right above those stars. And then we have our placeholder text, which is going to show up right in the review, which is essentially just letting them know what you're looking for. How was their experience? Did the agent help you through each stage? Was the buying and selling process clear? Anything you would recommend for future? I'm going to leave that as is as well. So really all I'm changing is the team name and the headline. And once I have that added, we're just going to click on Save and Apply at the bottom in order to just apply our updates. And once you guys have done that, you should see your information just pops up on the actual preview. You'll see leave a review. Now you'll notice it will say how would you rate your experience with Lori Godfrey. It also has your name again. Would you recommend Lori Godfrey? And it just tweaks it, makes it a little bit more customized to you. If you're not seeing the generic description, you may have tweaked this previously. We can, if you want to shoot us an email, we can take a look at your account and see if there's a way to get that back. You can try typing over it, but if you are looking to make edits to that actual page, you can also go in afterwards and click edit as well. I'm going to show you guys how to edit pages at the end of class, just so we can get through all of the pages that we need to get added to the site. So once you guys have clicked on Save and Apply and your changes are populating correctly on your preview, we're going to go ahead and click on Save Changes in the top right-hand corner. And before clicking anything else, just click on Save Changes. For the class, we're going to go ahead and continue to click No. Only because, again, like I said previously, we are going to go ahead and create all of the content first and make them all live at the end rather than jumping back and forth. So we're going to go ahead and click on No. We're going to go over how to physically add testimonials too. So depending on what content your clients add to your Leave a Review page, you can actually decide what shows up on your physical website. There's a clickable box that you guys can select what you want to actually populate. From here, we're going to go ahead and click on Create a New Page again, and we're actually going to get that mortgage calculator page added. And then I'm going to click on My Agent Site and Create Page. Once we have this populating, we're going to go ahead and give this a name as well. And then what we're going to do, I gave it just mortgage calc. What we're going to do is get this page set up because the mortgage calculator is actually going to pull from a code. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the Download My Mobile app in order to be able to save this page. So I'm going to do the exact same thing we did with the testimonial capture form, and I'm just going to drag and drop. And then once you guys have that populating, we're going to click on Content Blocks, which is right on the bottom right. And you guys are going to see a text box. We're going to go ahead and drag that text box so it's above the so it's above the mobile app. You want to make sure that that green line is above that page. And then I'll drop it. And once I have this set up, we can go ahead and grab that code for the mortgage calculator. So what I'm going to do for everybody who's in the live class is I will pull up the pages and I will go ahead and post them in the chat. And then anybody who is following along with the recording, these are all in the notes for you. And they're all, the code is there, the URL where I'm obtaining the code is there. So it's all notated for you just in case. But I'll go ahead and drop this in the chat for you guys. And once you guys pull this up, it should look exactly like my screen. We're just going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit to where you guys see step 2, copy your source code. And once you guys locate that section, all we're going to do is click on Copy to Clipboard. And you'll see copied flashes for a split second, and it's just letting you know that you have copied this entire code. Once you guys have that, we're going to go right back to Command. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to paste our code right over our text that's in that text box. So rather than insert your text here, I'm just going to highlight it. That way I can paste my code right over it. So I'm just going to right click and I'll paste it. And you guys can use shortcuts as well. And once I have my code added, I'm going to go ahead and just select all of that text. It should have kind of like a pink or a purple overlay depending on your computer. And I'm just going to click on the little link icon. And that's going to allow that to populate for us. So again, I pasted that in, I highlighted the entire code, and then clicked on the link icon. And once you guys have done that, it should look like my screen. It has the mortgage calculator there for you guys. And we're just going to go ahead and click on Save Changes once more. And keep in mind, again, just for the sake of the class, we're clicking on No, just so we can make them live all together. And it's going to bring us right back here. So now we have our leave a review and our mortgage calculator page. And you'll also see that they are not yet live, which is completely fine. So it essentially means that they're just kind of sitting here waiting to be added to your live website, which again, we'll be doing right at the end of class. But just in case you guys have any other gray eyeballs, that's what that means. If you guys see a teal eyeball, it means that it's a live page. Gray means that it has not yet been made live. The next page we are going to add is Homekeeper. One thing I do want to mention about Homekeeper is for some reason it doesn't like the Firefox browser. So if you guys are working out of Firefox, you will need to log into Homekeeper via Chrome, or I think Safari works as well. I have Chrome pulled up, so I'm just going to be using Chrome just for that specific page. But you can still create the page under Firefox. I use Firefox for everything. It's just logging into Homekeeper itself. For some reason, it won't let you do it. So we're going to get this page set up first, and then we're going to go ahead and log into Homekeeper. If you do not know your Homekeeper login, don't panic. You can come in and add this in later. Or if you're unsure if you even have a Homekeeper account, again, don't worry. Shoot us an email. I did just drop it in the chat, support@scottleroymarketing.com, and just put either attention website 201 Homekeeper, something along those lines, and just let us know, hey, I don't know my login, or I'm unsure what my login is, whatever it may be. We'll check and see if you have an account. If not, we'll set you up with a brand new one. So if you guys do have to skip over these two pages, again, don't worry, you can come back and watch this later. Again, it will be recorded and on our YouTube channel. But in order to get this page set up, there are going to be two pages that we'll be adding from the Homekeeper platform. They have a self-populating blog, which is phenomenal. It is a self-populating blog all about real estate. You guys have to do nothing. It is going to maintain itself and automatically post blogs. It's usually, depending on the time of year, it's 2 to 4 blogs a week, which is really cool. Again, it's something that you can add to your website and never look back. And then the other widget is freshly revamped. They actually just completely redid it. And it is the Homekeeper Vendor App. If you guys have not yet set up your Homekeeper account, when you're going to set it up, it allows you to select your board, select your office. And what it will do is it will pull local vendors based off of your board and your office. And your clients will then have access to search vendors on your website that the board or your office have already pre-approved. Again, just a cool tool to add to your website. It's more content for your clients as well. So to get that started, we're going to click on Create a New Page again. I'm going to select On My Agent Website and Create Page. And for the real estate blog, that's the one we're going to start with. So I'm just going to title it as such. You guys can also just call it blog, whatever you want, just again, so you can tell what it is when we go to make this live. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag over this one. We're going to be using the company profile. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag that over to my blank slate. And then I'm going to click on Configure Widgets. Same thing as that, leave a testimonial, leave a review. We're going to do that once more. And then click on Company Profile. From here, we're going to give it a headline. That's what's going to show up right here. So I'm just going to call it Real Estate Blog. Our intro text, this is where the actual code provided by Homekeeper is going to populate, which we'll be pulling that up in a second. So I'm just going to wipe that for right now. And then the rest of this information, we're just going to remove. So we're essentially just manipulating this template so it allows us to feature that blog. So I'm going to delete our heading. I'm going to put a space for section 1 because it is required. It has that red asterisk. I'm going to delete my image, delete section 2 heading, delete the section 2 text, delete the second image, delete footer, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit and delete my footer text. So really everything will be blank except for your headline. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll paste that code into the intro text section. And then let me pull up the Homekeeper URL for you guys. I'll drop this in the chat for you. So if you guys go to Homekeeper, it should look like my screen. And then we're just going to sign in. If you hover over sign in on the right, you're going to see realtors is an option, and we're just going to click on that. And then it will bring you to this screen. And I'm just going to go ahead and log in. And once you guys do log in, again, if you don't have access to it at this very moment, don't worry, you can gain access to it later. And we'll make sure that this is posted for you guys later on today as well. But once you are logged in, this is your dashboard. It should just bring you to this section. You will have all of these broken down. We're going to be working with the My Widgets primarily. If you guys are not seeing you have any vendors yet, you can still add the vendors page to your website and just not make it live. If you're seeing that you already have vendors, then you can make it live today. If you don't have vendors populating and you want to have them populating, in the notes that I shared, I put all of the information on how to reach out to Homekeeper to have vendors that are local to you added to your platform. Or if you also have an Excel spreadsheet, I know some agents have Excel spreadsheets, you can actually email them over to Homekeeper and they'll add them in for you, which again, just kind of cool. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on My Widgets. It should have the massive number 2. And it automatically dumps you on the My Trusted Pros widget now, but we're going to toggle over to that blog tab. And again, you guys can use this whether or not you have vendors. It's completely fine. So if you're not looking to add the My Trusted Pros page today, you can still add the blog. So once we're on this section, we're not going to be using the first one, but we're going to be using the second one with the iframe code. So all we're going to do is just click on copy code, and you should get that little copied flag. And then this is a preview below as well. So these are all of the blogs that have been posted recently. It looks like the most recent one was 2 days ago. And then once you guys have copied that code, we will go back to, I'm just going to drag this over to my other screen. We're going to go back to command. You guys probably have it up in another tab. And we're just going to right click and paste that into the intro text. And then click Save and Apply. And then you guys should see your blog populating. And this line will go away once you guys make it live. It will also let you scroll once you make it live. It's a little bit wonky when it's still in the edit stage. But once you guys have confirmed that something is populating here, we're just going to go ahead and click on our Save Changes once more in the top right. And then we're going to click on No. Again, this is just for the sake of class. And then it adds it to our list of pages. And then we're going to go ahead and add that vendors page for you guys as well. Again, if you don't have vendors yet, don't worry, you can just skip making this live, so it's at least waiting there for you. It will also automatically update. So if you guys are maintaining your vendors on Homekeeper, if you guys have a massive list you're going to be sending over this week, you can always add it in and that will automatically update for you. It's going to pull directly from your Homekeeper account. So as you guys tweak the account, the widget will automatically tweak to match that. So we're going to go ahead and click on Create a New Page once more. On my agent site, Create Page. This gets a little bit repetitive, so I apologize. And then for the label, I'm just going to put vendors just so, again, I know what it is. And then for this page, we're going to be using the agent profile widget. I'm trying to move around with these widgets as much as possible, just so you guys can see what they look like too, and how you guys can manipulate them further if you have maybe additional content you're trying to add to your site. So for this one, same thing, just drag and drop it. And this is the page. This probably looks pretty familiar to most of you. This is just the About Me page on your website. What we're going to do is manipulate the bio so it actually shows up with all of the vendors. So once you guys have dragged and dropped that, same thing as before, we're going to click on that Configure Widgets button, bottom right. And then Agent Profile, so we can tweak this. And then we have our page title. For the page title, again, you guys can label this whatever you'd like. I'm going to call it Local Vendors. For role and company, you guys can put, again, whatever you want. I'm going to put, let's see, you can put Homekeeper Vendors, real estate vendors. I'm just going to put a space for this just to kind of black it out. But if you guys have something specific that you want there, you guys can type that in as well. It's just going to overwrite the lead listing agent at Royal Realtors. Bio title, I'm going to put a space there as well, because we don't need About Lori to populate. For the contact section, I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so you guys can see it. I always double check this just to make sure it's correct. So just make sure your email looks correct, your phone number looks correct, contact Lori. So if you guys are like a team, or you're working with a spouse or a family member, whatever it may be, you can always put contact us as well instead of just your name. And then for your bio, we're going to go ahead and delete the entire bio. So you should see Enter Agent Bio in gray. And once you guys have that, we're ready for the code, and we're going to be adding that code into Agent Bio. So I'm going to pull up Homekeeper again. I still have it up. So if you guys have it just in a different tab, just toggle back over to it. And then we're just going to click on the My Trusted Pros. And again, the first one isn't compatible with Command, so we're going to use the iframe option. And this is exactly what it looks like, which again is kind of cool. It allows them to select by category. Again, you guys can add custom ones in if you guys have specific people you want. You can manually add them. It's really cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on Copy Code. And I get my little copied flag. And once you guys have copied that, I'm going to drag this page out of the way again. And then I will right click and paste this right into my bio. And then save and apply. And you'll see those are your vendors. Once you guys have that, save changes once more. We're going to click on No once more. The next page we'll be making live, so we'll be clicking on Yes for the next one. But once more, we'll click on No. And then the last page that we're adding as far as the widgets go, we're going to be adding a local school widget, which I will drop in the chat for you guys. But we're going to go ahead and get that page set up. It's going to be very similar to the vendors. So we're going to click on our Create a New Page once more. We're going to make sure on My Agent Site is selected and Create Page. And then from here, I'm just going to put schools. Again, just so I know what it is when I go to make the page live. And then I'm just going to drag and drop the agent profile over. We're going to use that one again. This is a very clean way to add a smaller widget to your website, just as a heads up. So once we've done that, we're going to click on our Configure Widgets once more and Agent Profile. And you guys can also swap out your headshot if you want something else there. For example, we're doing schools. If you guys have like a picture that's associated with schools, whatever it may be, you can always add that in as well. So for our page title, I'm going to go ahead and this is all referenced on the notes as well. I'm going to call this local school search. And then for role and company, I'm just going to put find local schools in your area. And again, you guys can tweak that if you want. It doesn't have to be the exact same. Bio title, I'm just going to delete it and put a space. Same thing as before. You guys can adjust contact title if you want. Make sure your phone number and your email is showing up correctly. And then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to select that entire bio and make sure that it says enter agent bio. And then this widget for the school, it is a little bit smaller than those vendors. So what I usually like to do is center that code. So in other words, the vendor platform is a little bit wider, so it takes up this entire page, where this one's smaller. By adding what we're about to add, it's going to make sure that it stays right smack in the center rather than being like left aligned on your website. It just looks a little bit cleaner. And Homekeeper is a free platform. So if you guys are questioning that, sorry, I just saw that come through. If you guys do want Homekeeper set up, we set you up with a premium platform, which is provided by Keller Williams. It's completely free to you guys. So don't sign up on homekeeper.com manually. Let us know and we'll set you up with that premium account. Thank you for asking that. I appreciate it. I didn't even think to mention that. So for your bio, to start that code just for that centering, all I'm going to do is do the greater than, less than symbol and type center and then close it. And I'm just going to leave that in that section so I can post the code right after it. And now let me just pull up the page and I'll share this with you guys in the chat just so you have it. So once you guys have this page up, you're going to want to choose your city and state or your zip or local address, whatever you guys want. I'm closest to Sarasota, so I'm just going to put Sarasota in here. And then you'll notice the second you click outside of that text box, it's going to pull up that area. So you can kind of double check and make sure that it looks correct. And then for the widget size, we're going to leave it as is. For our email address, you're going to want to use whichever email you guys put on your marketing profile. So again, if you guys used your KW email, a custom email, whatever it may be, that's what you're going to want to put here. I think she uses Lori Godfrey. And then for your website URL, I'm just going to use her command website URL. So whatever your command website URL is, that's what you're going to want to put in here. So I have, hers is God. And then you want to agree. And then we'll click on get code and it will give you this massive code. We're just going to highlight it and get that copied. And again, just double check and make sure that that map looks familiar. We've had some agents accidentally end up with the wrong state. So just make sure that if you guys did type in like a city or a zip, make sure that it's pulling up the correct state, that that map looks familiar. And then just copy your entire code. And once you guys have that, we'll jump right back to that command page. And right after our center, I'm just going to right click and paste my code. And then you'll see now my cursor's at the end. I'm just going to close it and add center again. You don't always need it. However, I've noticed it seems to be based on the browser too. So I'm just going to add that in just to make sure that it stays centered. So now the beginning of my code starts with that and the end of my code ends with that, the exact same thing. And once you guys have done that, we're just going to click on our save and apply. And then it will drop that in and you'll notice that it's centered. So if we hadn't have done that, what it would do is the map would actually be right here instead of being centered on this page. Once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and click on our save changes in the top right. And this time we're going to click on yes, because we're going to make those pages live so I can then show you guys how to add a physical testimonial to your website. And then we'll go ahead and make that page live as well. So we're going to go ahead and click on yes, and we are definitely going to go over the 1 hour. If you guys do need to log off, don't panic. Again, this will be on our YouTube channel with all of the notes and everything as well. This class does usually go a couple minutes over. I apologize. So once you guys click on yes, it's going to pretty much dump you right on the section that you need to be in order to make the pages that we've been creating live and on your website. You'll notice that the 3 pages that are already on your website are populating on the left-hand side. We're going to go ahead and click on add page. And this is going to get a little bit repetitive again, because we do have to make all of the pages that we just created live one by one. So I'm going to start with my leave a review page. And again, this is why it's so important to label them. That way you know exactly which page is going to need which title. So I'm going to select my bubble for leave a review and continue. And then if you guys are looking to use the same information from the notes, I've put all of this in the notes for you guys. So you guys can also copy and paste right from there. But for the testimonial capture, for the page title, I usually put leave a review as the page. For the slug, if you guys haven't created a slug through the back end of the command platform, 2 things to keep in mind. You cannot use a special character or a space. However, if you have multiple words, for example, new page, you would want to split them with a dash. That's kind of like the slug's way of recognizing a space. So it's not all merged together into one massive word. I'm just going to put leave dash a dash review. And then for our SEO description, again, you guys can tweak this however you see fit. I have mine. I'm just going to copy and paste it over. I have tell us about your experience with Lori Godfrey. And then we're just going to click on save. And that's going to add that page to our website. And then we're going to go ahead and just kind of go through the pages that we've created, make sure that they are all live. So I just got a question in the chat. Are the widgets available in Canadian content as well? The schools widget is the only one that is not compatible with Canada or essentially outside of the United States. All of the other platforms are 100% usable by Canadian agents. For the mortgage calculator, I believe we may have one on file for Canadian agents. If you want to shoot us an email to support@scottleroymarketing.com, we can check and see. I know that we've had a couple come through. And then for our YouTube channel, I will post that for you guys. For anybody who's still following along, we're just going to do add page once more. And we're just going to work our way up the list. So we'll do mortgage calculator. And then we'll give it a title. And then our slug, exact same thing. And then our SEO, which again, it's in the notes for you guys, just in case you guys need it. Mortgage calculator to assist with the home buying process. And then we're just going to save that as well. And then we'll add our next page. We have our real estate blog. Continue. And I'm just going to call that the exact same thing. I'm going to label it real estate blog. For the slug, I'm going to keep it short and sweet and just put blog. And then for our SEO, I have real estate blog and updates. And then once you guys have that added, we'll do save once more. And then add our next page. One more after this. We have our vendors. If you guys are skipping this one, you can skip right over it. I'll just add the information in really quick. Local vendors. And then for our SEO, local preferred vendors. So if you guys don't yet have vendors added, don't worry, you can just leave it as a dormant page on your site and come back in here and add them in once your Homekeeper account has been updated. We'll save that one. And then last but not least, we have our schools page. And then for this one, our title, I have local school search. And then we'll do the same thing for the slug. And then for our SEO description, search for schools in your area. And then we'll save that one. And then I usually drag and drop the contact option to the bottom. And I also usually put leave a review right above that. And you guys can reorganize these however you want them to populate, if you want them to be in different orders. If you guys do reorganize them, just make sure that you always click on save. And then what we're going to do now that those pages are live, and I'm just going to show you guys how to physically add a testimonial really quick. If you guys don't have a testimonial ready to add, don't worry. Again, you guys can come back in here later to do this. All I'm going to do is go back to agent site pages, and you'll see now all of them are live as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on create a new page. And on my agent site, and then in order to find a testimonial that's already been added, and what I'll do is let me pull up her website really quick just so you guys can see exactly what it looks like. I think she's Godfrey Real Estate Group. So I'll show you guys exactly what that page looks like. But in order to have your testimonials actually show up on your website, you do need to manually refresh the page that we are about to create. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. So if somebody comes to your website and they click on your leave a review page, this is the page that we just made live, and they add it, they submit it, you're ready to go. What will happen is you should get a notification, and more than likely the client will also mention, hey, I left a review on your page. Once you guys get that, you can come back to command and you would just add this page. So if you don't already have testimonials waiting on the back end of your account, creating this page won't actually have any content for you. So I'm just going to label this testimonials. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the testimonials list. You guys do have two options. The list is going to allow you guys to promote up to 10 testimonials. The carousel only allows up to 4. So if you guys do have multiple testimonials you want to populate on your site, you're going to want to make sure that you select that list. So I'm just going to drag and drop that. This is essentially what they will look like. And then I'm going to show you how to customize this, but this is how the testimonials will appear on this actual widget. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on configure widgets. And then testimonials list. And then from here, we already have our testimonial that we put through previously. And again, this was captured from the Leave a Review page. And then what I can do is I'll give it a headline. You can put like what our clients think or testimonials for your team name, for your name. I'm going to put reviews. I'll put client reviews. And you guys, again, can tweak this however you'd like. And then from here, what I'm first going to do is just click on save and apply so you guys can see what shows up. Again, this is our test review that we had previously put through on this review capture page. But you'll see here, it shows our name, it shows our location, it shows client since, and where we're from. You guys, as agents, can select what shows up on this page. So if you don't want their last initial, if you don't want client since, if you don't want their city, you can just uncheck those and then just click on save and apply. And then it will just format them accordingly. It will remove all of that information. So once I have the information that I want to show up, and I'm going to add a little bit in because this looks very sparse now. There we go. So I'll add that back in, and I just removed client since. All I would do is go ahead and do the exact same thing we just did on that last page and do save changes. I'm going to click on yes, just so I can make this page live and show you guys how to then edit it if you guys have a new testimonial come in after the fact. And then once I'm on this page, I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did for those last pages. Click on my add page. I'll pull our testimonials page, continue, and then I'm going to put client reviews. And then for SEO description, I just put what our clients are saying. And then I'll just click on save. And actually, I'm going to drag that up a little bit, and then we'll save it again. And then if I go to Lori's website, and refresh it, I now have my client reviews, so that's how it will show up on the physical website. But say you guys add this today, you have some testimonials that you guys can manually add to those leave a review, and someone a week from now shoots you an email, shoots you a text and says, hey, I left a testimonial on your website, I hope you got it. What you can then do is come back into command. You'll click on consumer, and it's going to bring you right back to this page. From there, you can now edit pages. This is huge, by the way, because this was not an option about 3 weeks ago. You used to have to completely recreate the entire page. Now you guys have access to just click on these 3 dots and it will let you edit any one of your live pages. So this is huge. In regards to testimonials, it's also very helpful because as you guys acquire those new testimonials, you can come right into consumer, essentially locate that page, click on edit, and it's going to bring up exactly where we were before. And all you guys will need to do is click on configure and that testimonials list once more. And then your other testimonials that have been captured will populate here, and you'll just have to check the little box next to it. And then once you click on save and apply, it will add it back in. One thing you will have to manually do as you guys add on new testimonials is uncheck anything that you previously did not want on there. It will automatically recheck all of those. But as far as adding in new testimonials that are captured by that capture page that we created today, that's how you can update it. And the beauty of it is because it's already live, all you have to do is click on publish page and it will automatically update that page. We'll just click on yes. And it usually takes a second because rather than you having to go through that entire create a title, create a slug, create an SEO, all it does is it just updates that existing page. So again, pretty cool. This edit button is brand new. The last thing I want to show you guys how to add, and I know we are cutting it super close for time, I just want to show you guys how to add completely custom content. In regards to featured listings, if you guys do have featured listings, I'm going to make sure that that tip is on those notes, and I'm actually looking at it right now. It is on there. So if you guys do have featured listings that you need added, there is a tip video that goes over how to manually add those. I just want to make sure that I show you how to add completely custom content before class is over. So the last page that we're going to do, all I'm going to do, and again, you guys don't have to follow along for this if you don't have specific content. I'm just going to show you guys the process of adding completely custom content. This is perfect for just sold listings or recent transactions, closings, whatever it may be. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on create a new page. And then on my agent site once more and create page. For this, I'm just going to put recent sales. And then I'm just going to pull up the content that I previously put together. So in regards to adding content, if you guys have maybe, again, past sales, sold properties, whatever it may be, your best bet is to put that together in either a Word document, whether it's a Google Doc, or if you guys have Microsoft Word or whatever it may be, because what it's going to do is when you then copy this information, it's going to copy it exactly how you have it formatted here. So you'll notice that sold is a little bit bigger, it's bolder. Then I have my pictures, they're centered. I have my address, my price is italic, represented the listing is bold. So as far as these, when you go to copy and paste this content onto that custom page, it's going to keep this exactly how it is. So this is just a great way to kind of maintain that formatting. So I'm just going to jump back to command and get my page ready to go. Again, you guys do need to be using one of these platforms or one of these widgets in order to add custom content. For the agent profile, it's not very friendly with pictures if you're just copying and pasting. So what I generally do is just put a text box above that mobile app, exactly what we did for that mortgage calculator. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag and drop my mobile app widget. And then I'll use my custom content blocks. And I will drag and drop my text widget. And then I'll just go ahead and highlight my text. Again, the exact same thing as what we did for our mortgage calculator. But this time, instead of pasting a code, I'm going to go ahead and just paste my content from this shareable doc. So I'll just highlight it and I will copy it. And then I'll just right click and paste it. And it does usually take a second for the picture to load, especially if it's a higher resolution photo. So again, don't panic. But once you guys have that added, you can then go ahead and actually center this information. What it's going to do is it's just going to center it more so if somebody happens to look at it on a smaller screen. So if they're looking at your website maybe on a tablet, or if they're looking at it on a mobile phone, it's just going to narrow it down a little bit. So in order to center this content, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to remain highlighted on this box. You'll see that it's highlighted in that blue. So it means that I currently have that text box selected. I'm going to go ahead and click on this paintbrush right underneath Save Changes. And then once I've clicked on the paintbrush, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Dimension. And this is, again, just going to allow me to kind of shrink this down. You'll notice that all of my content is right smack in the middle. We're just going to shrink this down a little bit. From here, I'm going to adjust the max width to be 100, or I'm sorry, 1,000. And then my margin for both right and left, so margin is my next section. I'm just going to go ahead and put auto for both of them. So I have 1,000 for width, right and left is auto, and then right when I select outside of it, you'll notice that my actual section, my text box, that shrunk my text box. So what that means is if somebody, again, is looking at this on a smaller screen, my screen is very wide. I'm on a 28-inch monitor right now. So that being said, once this is on a smaller screen, if they're looking at it on a tablet or maybe just a smaller laptop, it's going to allow this to auto adjust for them as well. So once I've done that, all I'm going to do is click on my Save Changes in order to make this page live. And then I'll go ahead and click on Yes. And then we'll make this page live just so you can see exactly what it looks like. So I'll select my recent sales. I'm just going to put recent sales here just so I can get it added. And then I'll show you guys what the live page looks like. And it does usually take a second. The first time that you guys go to a live page after adding it to your website, it does take a second for everything to load, especially the more elaborate the page is. So if it's a code that you guys added, the blog from today, the mobile, the mortgage calculator, they do sometimes take a second, but it's because it's the first time you're going to that page. But you'll notice here, all of my content's populating. I have my download my mobile app. All of my information is underneath, and I'm good to go. And if I obtain, obviously, another sold property, the same way that we updated that testimonial page, we would just come back to our consumer and we can do the exact same thing. We can click on our 3 dots and edit, and it's going to bring us right back here. And the beauty of this is you can go ahead and you can essentially select all of it and just repaste over, which is, again, a huge plus side of keeping some sort of hard copy with all of your content is going to allow you just to paste over with that revised version. So if you guys have a sold listings Google Doc or a sold listings Word document, you guys can just keep tagging them on to the end of that document. That way, each time you go to replace it, rather than trying to match the formatting, making sure that it's all clean, you can select all, copy and paste. Nice and simple. But that's just my personal recommendation for adding essentially custom content or your recently sold listings. And that's how you guys can maintain them as you guys are making edits and adjustments to your pages. Again, in regards to featured listings, I will make sure that the notes are updated. And if you guys are watching the recording, I'll make sure that it's hyperlinked in the notes below. All of those are going to be found under site and app settings. And then last but not least, if you guys are looking to change just the background, so I'll pull up her website really quick. If you guys are just looking to change the background images, you can also do that for your website. And we have some links shared in the notes that have some of the stock photos. So if you guys are looking for stock photos that are maybe just more local to you, you can use those links in the notes in order to obtain those. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or if anything just didn't look the way that ours did today, if something was being a little bit wonky, shoot us an email, support@scottliverymarketing.com, and we can always take a look at your account. But definitely take a look at the notes from class. And yeah, if you guys have questions, just let us know.